Yo, so I get asked a lot, how do you get your microphone to sound this good on PC or even on phone, really? But on phone, it's not really gonna work that way. So the closest best thing is to actually connect your phone as a microphone on the PC or a laptop. This is basically a free software. It works across everything, really. Any sort of microphone you would use, even cheap earphone like microphones, it will work on them, right? So I get asked that a lot, so I might as well make a tutorial about it. So here's me trying to actually like try to explain it to you all. So basically, you would get this app. It's called Equalizer APO. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Right? Equalizer APO is basically like audio mastery EQ application. Right? How it works is that you basically get a bunch of plugins. You would first, after you install it, open this Equalizer APO device selector, right? And then you would choose the microphone that you want to adjust, right? Let's say I have a dedicated microphone like I'm using right now. You would just connect that, tick the box, and just hit close. It'll just add it up, and then afterwards it'll be done, right? That's for the microphone. As for the, let's say you have like a phone, we would use a software called Audio Relay. This one, you would just get a USB-C, go through the documentation, and if you would want, I would leave also a link in the description as well. Audio Relay is free. There is a premium version on the mobile phone version. The PC version is fully free. You just need the mobile client to be paid, or you know, Linux ISOs. That's all I'm gonna say. Educational purposes, by the way. This video is basically for educational purposes. I do not condone piracy in any sort of way. You're free, you can feel free to do whatever what you want. It's not up to me to decide that. So once you decide on the microphone that you're gonna use, right? Again, dedicated microphone is better. So you would choose it, hit close, it'll auto select it, and yeah. So let's start like a new config, right? How it goes is basically you would set the device. You would click on this plus icon, hit control, select the device, right? And make sure to toggle it for this, right? I basically set it already for my microphone, so I don't need to set it again. But you get the gist of it. You would add the microphone here. Afterwards, you would basically, like you can see here, you can add preamplification. What preamplification does is basically adds extra gain onto your microphone. Basically makes it sound a bit louder than it usually should sound, right? Why do we need the volume to be louder than usual? We basically need extra room so that we can apply the effects onto it and it doesn't distort the microphone to the point of it not being audible enough. So you would go on to basic filters, preamp, and you would just adjust it to the max, like literally just adjust it to the max. It would not apply to my config. You would hear it the same way right now. I'll show you how it sounds without anything. This is how it normally sounds with just the preamp. It's very loud. I'll edit it in pre-post so that your ears doesn't really bleed. I'm sorry about that. First and foremost, after we add the gain, the thing that we need to do right now is to add what we call a sound noise suppressor. There are a bunch of options for this. There's a free option and there's a paid option. Again, I'll leave links for those in the description as well. I used to use the RN noise plugin. This one. Hold on. I'll show you. For the sake of your ears, I'm just going to bring it back. For the sake of your ears, I'm just going to bring it back to normal. You would use the RN noise plugin. Hold on. I don't really remember where it was. Hold on. Yeah, there we go, that one. You would choose the mono, and you would just use that one, right? Hold on, I think I chose the wrong file. Yeah, VST, there you go, that one. Once you add it, right, you choose the DLL file, which is the plugin file. You would just open the panel and adjust it as much as you would like, right? So the thing is, this is called a VAD threshold, right? The threshold is basically how much you would want your audio to sound. Like basically, how much you would want your microphone to understand that, yo, this is a sound, I need to not get higher than this or lower than that. You know what I mean? So the higher, the more it can hear, the lower, the less it can hear, and so on and so forth. The VAT grace period is basically how much milliseconds, like how many milliseconds after the fact, right? How many milliseconds after the fact the microphone would hear stuff. So basically, I'm talking, all of a sudden I stop talking. There's a bit of a gap at the end, right? It doesn't want to. You don't really want to cut it off immediately. Like if we set it to 0, we would get really choppy audio, and it wouldn't sound as good, right? So you would just want to do that. You would just simply add the VAT grace, increase it a little bit, right, or a lot. It depends on how much you want to give yourself, like how much headroom you want to give yourself, and just add it from there, right? You just increase it till you test it out and listen and see how good it sounds. How you can listen to the audio, it's really simple as well. You basically, if you're on Windows 11, you can just follow that. You would go to your settings, go to sound, scroll down, go to more sound settings. You then go to the recording tab, choose your microphone, go to listen, and just tap that, right? Once you hit that, just click apply. You would be able to hear yourself talk, right? And once you're done, make sure to turn it back off. Yeah, all fun and dandy. So yeah, after which, right? Explaining the last part, the VAT grace period for the retroactive aspect. Basically, it's the opposite of this one. So this is how much time we want to give it till it cuts off the audio. This is how much time we want to add delay to the audio before it listens to it and outputs it into the microphone. So basically, I'm talking, like I started talking right now, right? It wouldn't register it on the PC immediately. There would be a little bit of delay and would allow headroom for the microphone to pick up on the immediate like aspect of you speaking. Like as soon as you talk, it wouldn't really pick it up if it's at 0, right? So we add delay so that the microphone has a bit of leeway to actually hear what you're trying to say, you know? People would say less is better, but then again, that is subjective. It depends on the microphone that you're using. Sorry. That is a free plugin. I do recommend it if you are on a budget, but again, I'll leave the sources in the description. I do use Supertone Clear. Supertone is actually really, really, really nice. Like, genuine. This is what you're hearing right now. Just so you know. This is what you're actually hearing right now. If we turn it on, right, you would get this panel, right? My advice, ambience is basically the noise that is literally beside you when you're speaking. Put that shit down. Just straight up. Put it all the way down. Reverb, this is how much, like, you know, when you're talking in a really, really empty room, and then you would get this, like, sort of echo, but it's not really echo. Like, it's a bit of a vibration in your voice when it's picked up on a microphone. Not really the repeating of the audio itself, but it's just the extra vibrations on it. You want to cut that off, so put it all the way down and just max out the voice parameter. That's what you need. This is what I'm using. It's super nice. It's genuinely super nice. But if you want to Linux ISO it, it's up to you. I would provide some yeah in the description. That's all I'm gonna say. But if you do want to support the developer, they're actually really nice people. It's like $65 or something like that. Up to you. Up to you again. This is for educational purposes. I'm just showing you what I have. You don't have to use this, but if you do want it, it is out there. You just gotta go searching for it. Next, we would add an expander. An expander is basically like, think of it this way. When you open a door, right? It would let air in, right? How much you would wanna let the door open is basically the expander. It basically gives you time on how much you want the door to be open, when it would be open, and how long after the fact it would be open. And it would also add the like a thing called threshold. Threshold is basically how much you would want like air to be allowed inside of the audio. I'll show you right now the adjustments for that. The ATK expander, I added up. Basically, think of attack as basically how much time it takes for the door to open. So the faster it opens, the more the more it takes to open the gate. So I would say somewhere around like the 5 to 10 milliseconds, maybe 15. Experiment with it really. If it cuts off, it cuts off. But yeah, release, I would honestly recommend it to be at like 65, 50-ish, like between the 50 and the 65 range is what I would recommend. It's a bit of a finagling and experimenting really, but it's up to you. Put it to soft. Always max it out to soft. When you make it allow hard noises, it basically allows the fan to actually be able to output into the microphone, which is not what we want. The slope, I would honestly just max it out and leave it. Threshold is the gate opening, like it says, threshold. Basically, when you make it at 0, it doesn't open up easily. On ATK expander, I would recommend just dialing it back. Experiment between the 16 and the 10 range, 10 decibels. I personally set it at 10.7. This is what basically you would set it at a specific decibel so that it doesn't really allow the outside noise to be let in, right? But it would allow your voice to be let in because it's louder than the noise, if it makes sense, right? So honestly, it is subjective. You would just have to dial that back and forth while you're listening to your own microphone so that you would understand, oh, okay, so at that point it doesn't pick it up, but at this point it picks it up. You know what I mean? So you have to dial it back so that it doesn't really pick up anything, honestly. So for me, it's like at 10.7. I have a really loud fan, so it's really loud and it gets picked up easily. So I set it at an extreme level. But again, it's subjective, totally up to you. You can dial it back as much as you want. Next, what I would recommend is setting an EQ. So on EQ, I recommend the Reaper plugins. They're actually free. They're really nice and they're really made. Well made. That's all I'm gonna say. They're really well made. We would do the REA Reaper EQ. This one, the standalone. Then we would open the panel. We would want to add an extra band, the 5. Set it at like 20 hertz, 20,000 hertz, 21,000. It's up to you. But if you don't want to adjust it, just leave it be. How we would do this is basically we would go on to 1, set it to high pass, right? And keep it at there, right? This is basically cutting off all the unnecessary vibrations in the background. We would go to number 2. Again, this EQ is really subjective, so you don't have to copy the 2, 3, and 4 bands. This is just you testing how good the microphone would sound in certain wavelengths. As for me, I would love to increase the gain in that part a little bit. So I set it to like there. Just need like an extra bump to my audio in the lower frequencies. On 3, I like to lower the middle ground, like the mid-tones a little bit, so I decrease the gain here a little bit, right? And then I go to number 4. This fourth band is kind of tricky, but I set it at like between the 6,000 and the 8,000 range. I personally set it at like 7,500. And then I increase the gain as well, so that it gives it an extra hump. Now, on the 5th one, we would add a low pass filter. So basically, on the high pass filter, you would see we added that one here, that one over there. A high pass is basically a filter that gets rid of the lower frequencies, and a low pass is the filter that gets rid of the higher frequencies. So really, really aggressive, sounds. You would want to get rid of that. But again, 3, 4, and 2 is really subjective. Test it out with your own self. Make sure it sounds good and lock that in. Afterwards, I personally set another compressor or like another expander. Again, this is really optional. It's not really necessary at all. to actually use. But in case you want to follow some of my settings for it, uh, I would recommend actually following that one. So these are the settings that I have for it. I wipe the dry settings completely off. This is the thing that you want to adjust on your own self. Make sure that it doesn't really ruin the audio. Like it's not low enough, but it's not really high enough. The lower the threshold on the decibels, the less audio gets outputted into the microphone, and the higher, the more like audio gets outputted into the microphone. This is also subjective. Make sure to do it on your own self, on your own accord, and dial it back as much as you need. Other than that, these settings, you should follow these. The ratio specifically, you need it to be 4:1. How can I explain it? I don't know. I'm not gonna explain that part. But yeah, that's what you should do with it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You would add these filter, and that's how the microphone would sound. And in case you need the actual demonstration of how they sound by comparison, I'll show you right now. This is the microphone raw audio without any filters, without anything. And this is how it sounds. If we go to the levels, you would see this is the fan noise. It's really, really loud. But if we go back here, right, and we turn it on, there you go. You will start to hear that it actually sounds nice now. It actually sounds really good. And this works across the entire laptop or PC. It's not really restrictive, like, it's not really strict to a specific software. Like, it's not really only for Discord, or it's not really only for OBS. It works across everything on the PC or the laptop. Whenever you may take like a phone call or a video call, I know conferencing, like video conferencing in general, like Zooms, online classes, all of that would work for there splendidly. Anything on across anything on a browser, it would just work very well. So that is my setup, how I got the microphone to sound really good. I'll leave links in the description so that you can check them out for yourself. I'll also leave my config file. Not necessarily the config that I'm using, but I'm just gonna leave the plugins that I'm using in the description. Direct links to cite the sources themselves, and also, again, you know what I'm trying to say, Linux ISOs. So yeah, again, this video is for educational purposes. Everything is out there, honestly, if you go searching for it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it was really helpful for you. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and last thing, before I forget, make sure to save your config. This button saves your config. Really helpful. Alright, see ya.